Welcome to this episode of the By the Wave podcast. My name is Jackson Campbell. I'll be hosting today's episode. Again, the By the Wave podcast, where we have meaningful conversations with like-minded individuals to enlighten our mind, body, spirit, soul, and with people that inspire us. Frank is one of those people that has inspired me a ton, and I'm excited to talk to him about just his journey in entrepreneurship and kind of what you've been up to. You're a very impressive guy, but we'll dive into it. We'll dive into it here in a minute. Before we dive into the episode, just a quick reminder, quick announcement, quick notification. I am hosting today's episode, but the By the Wave podcast will be a collaboration and a bunch of podcasts put together with a bunch of different hosts. Today I'm hosting. There will be episodes where Strat hosts. There will be episode where Will hosts. There will be episodes where Nico hosts. And there'll be episodes where we kind of all come in together to do as well. But today I'm fortunate enough to sit down with Frank Teshima from Maui and chat with him about his life. Frank, thank you for jumping on with us today. You're like officially the first podcast interview guest for the By the Wave podcast. So thanks for jumping on, man.
Hell yeah, dude. It's awesome, man. Like we can finally chat a good one. I mean, I don't think we've chatted had a good conversation, so at least we can get it on the pod.
I know, I'm excited about it. We got out here a little early, and our conversations before we got started, we didn't want to dive too much into stuff because we wanted to get it on the recording. But Frank, tell us a little bit about yourself. How old are you? I already said you're from Maui. What do you do for a living? Kind of just give us an introduction, who you are. Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so Frank Teshima, I'm from Maui. I grew up kind of in the south side of Maui, and then I moved to kind of Kahului, the central side, and that's where I kind of lived out the rest of my youth years. Graduated in 2014, so I'm 27 years old, 27 and a half, and I'm in commercial real estate. We focus on multifamily assets, and we partner up with individuals. So that's what I do as my main career, and then I also help my fiance with her marketing.
And that's been going really well for you as well.
Yeah, it's fun.
So the career goals and aspirations are multifamily real estate, multifamily owner. Why multifamily? Let's just touch on that really quick. Why multifamily? Why have you decided to go down that route?
So I found real estate in general in 2020, and we both know there's a lot of avenues that you can go with in real estate, and quickly found single family. Obviously, that's the entry level. A lot of people do that. Not everyone does multifamily. I wanted something bigger. And on that journey of finding multifamily, there was an epiphany I had. I was like, how do I get more people into real estate? And single family is a small pie. I wanted a bigger pie. And multifamily is definitely it. You can go from buying, 2 units all the way up to 1,000 units. In single family, you're just buying 1 unit.
Yeah.
And I was passionate about bringing other people on.
Yeah.
Because I found that real estate really gets people wealthy, and that's why multifamily.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, that's a great reason why to get into something, is so you can help others also do that, right? Yeah. Does real estate run in, why did you feel drawn to help others get involved in real estate?
Yeah, real estate was not in my family. Yeah, no one does real estate. So I was drawn to it because I had a conversation with a superintendent at work, and he kind of talked about my pay, and I was like, wow, man, I wish. I took it personal what we talked about, and I went home and I was like, how do you become wealthy, dude? Literally on Google, and Bigger Pockets popped up, and they're all about real estate and helping people just get into real estate, and that's how it was, just from that one conversation. But there was a seed that had been planted before I left DFW. It was an uncle, literally a week before we moved up. He was like, hey, if there's anything you should do, you should buy real estate. And he kind of left it at that. And he also invited us up to his house to play cash flow.
Okay.
game.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think of it until I had that conversation.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so you had that conversation with your superintendent. I want to kind of back up. Maybe we talk about that conversation a little
Okay.
bit. Is this when you had moved to Texas?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's rewind a little bit. You got a job. You were living here on Maui,
Uh-huh.
and then you got a job opportunity in Texas and decided to leave Maui and go there. Highlight that really quick.
So I left Maui because my fiance, Haley, she was pursuing chiropractic school.
Yeah.
And she kind of rolled over in bed. I believe it was like February of 2019. And she was like, hey, I just got into school. I just got accepted and we're gonna move to Dallas. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had been, I was preparing to be a fireman. I was gonna go into the union to be a operator. And I kind of had things lined up, but I always wanted to move up to the States.
Yeah.
So this was my opportunity,
Yeah.
and I took it. And that's why I moved up. Just,
To support
her.
to support your
Yeah.
fiance and go to school. Was it school that she was going? Yeah, she
Yeah.
was going to school out
School,
there.
yeah.
So you wanted to support her and go with her, and that
Yeah.
was kind of your avenue to
Yeah.
make that inkling that you've had to want to move out there to
Yeah.
actually happen. So you moved out there. You're working. You got a job doing construction stuff,
Yeah.
and you're having this conversation with your superintendent.
Mhm.
What was that conversation like? I kind of want to
Yeah.
dive in. If you
No,
don't mind.
and I'm not private about it.
Yeah.
So
We don't have to talk numbers.
Okay.
But I just kind of want to highlight that conversation because, dude, those conversations, I think a lot of people have those conversations with people. Like, a lot of people in their lives have these conversations with bosses, with superintendents, with owners, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And however that person decides to react to that conversation
Yeah.
kind of has a lot to say about that person and the trajectory of the life that they're gonna have, right? So this conversation you have with your superintendent, sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead, tell me about it.
So I was a heavy equipment operator and I ran the loader for a concrete batch plant. And we dealt with material, basically sand and rock. And when you make concrete, it needs to be clean. So it was winter season and where the plant was situated was on a very muddy area. And a lot of mud was getting in the material and we were wasting a ton of material, like I would say thousands of dollars
Wow.
every day. And he came up to me, I think he was pissed, obviously. Came up to me and he was like, hey, the amount of money we're gonna lose on this job is more than you're gonna make this year. And I took it personal. I mean, maybe, I shouldn't have taken it personal, but I did and I'm glad I did.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That's why I'm here today.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's, it was just short and sweet, right?
Yeah.
To the point, and I went home literally that night. And I was like, how the hell do you become wealthy on Google?
Dude, it kind of, maybe whatever it is, however he said it, the energy that it came with, or how he said it, hit you different to give you
Yeah.
that different type of perspective.
Yep.
And
And
I-
I think it was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think I'd been looking for something. I finally realized that, I was working a ton of hours, 60, 65 hours a week.
Yeah.
And
And then for him to just come say some
Yep.
bullshit comment
It was
like
like,
that to you, dude, no, I
oh,
totally.
yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I can relate, man. I can relate, like how frustrating that could be for sure. So you left that conversation, you went home, you started Googling and started searching about real estate. And then
Yeah.
since then, you've just been pouring into real estate with all the free time that you have.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you also talked about you're helping your wife on marketing. This is kind of what I wanted to highlight as well. You had that conversation. You realized that you didn't want to work for somebody anymore and you're going to make wealth on your own. You and your fiance are living in Texas. You eventually make your way back. She finishes school
Yep.
and you guys move back Maui.
Yeah.
Talk about that real quick.
So we graduated, and because the reason why we're back on Maui is because she got offered an opportunity. The whole plan while she's at school is, hey, I'm gonna open up there,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna continue staying up in Dallas. We kind of didn't have a date set on coming home. Like, we were planning to live up there for another 10 years. But she was very close to the mentor. She found these two guys approached her at a conference and they're like, hey, you're from Maui. We have a business on Maui. We'd like you to come home when you graduate. And I was like, I love this girl. I'm not gonna leave her.
Yeah.
I can't do this long distance. We did it before, it wasn't great.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna move home. I'm not gonna say no to this opportunity. So that's why we moved home. And transitioning home was different. We'd been up there in a different culture, different
Coming back, yeah.
traditions, and I would say I'll speak for me, I feel like I stuck out from, the regular, local boy at home.
Yeah.
And I kind of still do, but I'm glad, I stick out.
Yeah, a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's definitely benefits in that, for sure.
Yeah.
Being different, 100%. Okay, so you came back Maui, you've started working with your wife, she got this cool job, and now your wife is
Chiropractor.
by herself.
Yes, yeah, she
works-
basically rents out a room.
And
With these two doctors, yeah.
she's self-sufficient and she has her own. This is
Yeah.
what I wanted to highlight because
Yeah.
I think it's super impressive what you and your fiance have created
Mhm.
by 27. So now you don't work for that superintendent anymore.
No.
You guys have moved back Maui.
Yeah.
Your fiance has started her own chiropractic, and you guys are crushing it with the chiropractic thing while you build your real estate
Yeah.
portfolio and your real estate career.
Yeah.
You're 27, Frank, and you don't have a boss now. You're able to focus on your real estate career and help your wife with her career, or your fiance, I apologize.
Uh-huh.
You help your fiance with what it is that she's building. I think that's impressive, man. Like, I really think that that's so impressive that by 27, you've been able to navigate life and make decisions and do things to get yourself in a position where you don't work for anybody anymore.
Mhm.
You help your wife grow her business while you're also growing your business.
Yeah.
It's impressive, dude.
Thank you.
So I don't even know what question to ask. I think the question, how did you do that? Such a dumb question. But what do you think has been the biggest factor? Because this is over how many years? 5? How many years has this all transpired? Since being with your fiance?
4. Yeah.
So over the past 4 years, this has all transpired. That's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
What do you think has been the biggest difference in your life, meaning the actions that you take to help you kind of transition to become your own boss and kind of be more financially independent?
I would say there's just one word, it's sacrifice. This did not come overnight, and
Yeah.
I don't think most people would have went through what I went through. And I literally trailblazed the past 3.5 to almost 4 years of preparing myself to get to this point.
Yeah.
And it was working long hours, and everything fell on me. My fiance was busy at school, and I didn't want to take her away from learning. We're up there in the States, and it wouldn't be fair. I didn't think it was going to be fair if she were to work and go to school. So I took that upon me, everything. It was, car insurance.
All the finances you took on.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I'll be completely honest, her father then did come in times that we needed it.
Sure.
But
Everybody
I did
needs help, yeah.
Yeah, I did my ultimate best to try and keep everyone out and take the responsibility on me.
Yeah.
And it was tough, dude. I was doing everything, and I knew what I signed up for, and I just did it. I knew what the job was, and I did my ultimate best. And moving back home, I went back to work for my father-in-law. Things weren't ready for me to go full time. Me and my fiance talked, and we're like, hey, this needs to happen before we do what you want to do. And I continued up until maybe 3 months ago, which is where I finally said, hey, I'm done having my own boss, and now I'm the boss.
Right.
And now that we're talking about this, I should be a lot grateful for what I'm in now, but you're just so caught up in the day-to-day stuff.
No, I definitely see you as a grateful person. So
Thanks.
no, I definitely feel your gratitude when I'm with you, for sure, just for life. Dude, you kept saying your ultimate best. I kept doing my ultimate best. I kept doing my ultimate best. I kept doing my ultimate best. What does that mean to you? Like, what does ultimate best mean?
Man, just shutting up and doing it. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Like, literally, there shouldn't be any excuses. Know what you have to do, and do it with the ultimate, your ultimate ability. to do something.
Yeah.
And taking all the strong traits that you have and like putting it into the job.
Maximizing them.
Maximizing, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. As you were talking, just pictured levers. Pulling all of your levers. When you put in your maximum best, right? You're just pulling all of those levers of all the best things that you have and bringing all of those things forward. That's awesome, dude. I love that definition. So you say you're working lots of hours, giving your ultimate best. I'm sure there was times of difficulty where you were up late at night doing stuff, trying to figure stuff out.
Well, I'm a morning person, so I was up early.
Up
so
early.
I was up. So I worked. I would say my work day was 14 hours a day.
Wow.
1 hour commute, 12-hour work shift, and then another hour commute.
Back, yeah.
So I started at 6. So I needed to be up early if I had to do my what I was in, multifamily. So I was up at 3:30 every morning.
That's impressive, dude.
Yeah.
That's
So
impressive.
I'm not a late night guy. Maybe the latest I would stay up is 9:30, 10, but I was always up and early.
Well, you're up at 3, yeah. You got to get to sleep for sure.
Yeah.
That's that sacrifice that you're talking about that I don't think, like you're saying, that you don't think a lot of people are willing to do for an extended period of time to get the result that it is that you're getting now. So it's been 3 months. You put in a ton of this work. Real quick, before we kind of jump into these past 3 months, during that, like, these past 4 years where it's like that growing time, what would you say is like the main thing that you do to keep you going? Like, is there like a routine that you have? Is there like a thing in the day or at the night that you do that kind of helps you stay on track?
I would say goal setting was important, but my whole thing is visualization and knowing where you want to be. Yes, in the moment, it's tough. You have bills coming up, you have car breaks down, you're not making a ton of money. But are you thinking about what you have to do now because it'll get you somewhere later?
Yeah.
There's a famous quote, most people fail because they give up what they want most for what they want now. I'm willing to sacrifice now because I want something in the future.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really drove me in those tough days, man. It was rough.
Yeah, you were confident in what it is that you wanted.
Yeah. Yes.
And what it is that you knew you were capable of attaining to, right? I think a lot of times that's where people get held up, is they don't believe they're worthy of it or they don't believe that they can do it. But what you just said, you have to have that confidence and that belief that where you're going, you can get there and that you know how to get there.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so good. That's so good. Yeah. So, okay, so now 3 months. 3 months you've been your own boss, helping build your fiance's clientele through her chiropractic and working on real estate. How has these past 3 months been in that adjustment? Because I know that there's an adjustment there from clocking in every day to now you're just on your own, kind of doing your own thing, clocking in and out yourself. How's that been?
It was different, like I had to make sure that even though I'm working for myself, I need to make sure that I'm still working.
Yeah.
Right? And it's rough it was hard trying to be disciplined. Like, you got to make sure you do things and you hit deadlines and everything falls on you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you don't hit a deadline at work, it falls on your boss, kind of.
Right.
Right? But if I don't hit deadlines, it falls on me.
Right.
And the best thing that I did was scheduling out my day.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to implement health. Like, now I pretty much work out 5 days a week.
It's awesome.
And it's not crazy workout, but I'm getting the heart pumping 5 days a week, and that's what I always wanted. So transition was tough, but I would say it took me about solid month to get on a track.
Get on the flow of things.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because, dude, I love that you brought up discipline, because you're expected things. When you're like working at a W-2 or you're working for somebody, you're expected to be somewhere.
Yeah.
So it puts a pressure on you, and you want to make sure, it's just a different type of pressure that it puts on you, because you want to make sure you're fulfilling those expectations that others have of you. But then it's like a very fine line of people pleasing, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, am I going against what I feel like I should be doing to make somebody else happy? And then it's not really true discipline. So, dude, I love that you highlighted that,
Yeah.
right? Because you're doing it for somebody else. Discipline is when you do something that you know you need to do for you, right? For whatever it is that you're working on. So, dude, I love that you highlighted that. That's a huge thing. You're not disciplined if you make it to work on time.
Yeah.
That doesn't make you a disciplined person. A disciplined person means you make it to your work when you decide that you set the time for, right? That's actually discipline, dude. So I love that you highlighted that. That's huge. So it took you about a month to dial it in. What were those main, you said you planned out your day. What were those main things to help you gain that discipline?
Scheduling. Scheduling out my day. Like I would literally schedule out my workout, my wake up, my
Yeah.
sleep,
Yeah,
making dinner,
that's awesome.
and everything.
Every hour.
I needed to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it still helps me because you have all this time in a day,
Yeah.
and you can easily get lost, doing tasks that kind of don't move the needle. So scheduling was the best thing.
And making sure your schedule is productive.
Yes.
Not just filling your time.
Yeah, yeah.
Another thing that I think happens in a W-2 work type life, right, is like you have to be there from 9 to 5 or whatever it is.
Yep.
So you fill up that time sometimes with fluffer stuff because you just have to fill up that time, right?
Yeah.
Busy work.
Yeah.
But when you're on your own, you have to make sure that every hour is productive and then actually moving the needle towards
Yeah.
something, because that time wasted is money lost for
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
Yeah. Another thing was goal setting. Like now I get to dictate my schedule, and now I can really hit goals.
Yeah.
Before it was always like I have to make sure I set goals, but I kind of can't hit goals because I have, most of my day,
Yeah.
is work. So
Yeah.
now I can hit goals better.
Your goals actually become your priorities.
Yeah, yeah.
This is kind of what I heard you just say, right? Because like when you're working a 9 to 5, 14-hour days, that's your priority. Whether you like it or not, if you're spending 14 hours a day on it, that's your priority.
Yeah.
But now, since you've kind of shifted outside of that, now your goals have become your priority, dude. That's huge. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Frank, what would you, as we're kind of wrapping up here, what would you say to somebody that might be in a similar position as you? They've had a conversation with their boss, they know internally what it is that they need to do, or there's something that's happened, and they know internally that they need to make a shift in their life. Whether that's their work, whether that's a relationship, whether that's where they live, what would you say to, like, how would you give advice to somebody that is ready to make a shift?
I would say, and they know where they're going, and they still need to figure that out.
Maybe that's what you need to tell them then, yeah?
Yeah.
Is figure out where it is you want to go.
Yes, because my whole thing with everything is you need to know where you're going. I share this all the time. If you don't know where you're going, it's basically like you're going to the airport, talk to a ticketing agent, you tell her, hey, I want to go somewhere. She's like, where do you want to go? And you're like, I don't know, surprise me. And she sends you to a third world country when you wanted to go to Vegas.
Right.
Right? So you have this conversation with your boss, you don't want to work anymore, you kind of want to pursue your own thing. You need to know where you're going before you do anything. And if you just want to cold turkey it and quit, if I'm being honest, you might bleed a little.
Yeah.
And if you've built up resources to help with that bleeding for a bit while you find what you want to do,
Great.
then yeah. But always know where you're going to go. I think that's super vital.
Yeah, dude, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That suggestion. Have a good plan. Have a good plan in place. It might not be perfect though.
It won't.
Because
It
you're
won't be
like,
perfect.
from talking to you, it didn't sound like it was a perfect plan, but you knew that you needed to do something and you knew the direction you wanted to go.
Yeah.
So you had that faith to step into the dark, knowing that where it is that you wanted to go.
Yeah.
Before we end, just I guess knowing where you want to go, but still taking a step into the dark. It's kind of an oxymoron if you think about it, right? It's like, oh, I know that this is my goal. I don't know how to get there, so I'm going to step into the dark. So how does that play a part for you in your journey, knowing where you want to go, not necessarily knowing on how to get there, but still taking action?
Yeah. So it's funny, I recently thought about this. I had a friend come down from Boston. We connected on LinkedIn. We met for coffee. and he asked me about what was my ultimate goal right now, as of right now. And I shared it with him, and he was like, how are you going to get there? I was like, dude, I honestly don't know. But as long as I take these steps every day, knowing that that's the end goal, if I take steps every day, it's kind of like having a flashlight,
Yeah.
right? I'm still taking steps towards it. I can look up and, oh, there's a goal, and now just look down and then continue navigating. But it's that 1%, every day getting better and working towards it. That's all I can do. It's a really high goal that I have, and I don't think he suggested, getting surrounded by the right community, but
It's huge.
yeah.
Dude, that's such a good answer, and that's such a cool conversation you had, because I have a very similar thought process of it. Like, let's say your goal is 1,000 units that you want to get in apartments. Are you not going to be happy until you get those 1,000 units? That's a shitty way to live.
Yeah.
Expecting to be only be happy when you reach your goal, right? I love the flashlight analogy that you use there too, because you don't need to know every single step to get you to your goal.
Yeah.
But you know the next step. So take that next step.
Yeah.
And as you take that next step, the next steps are kind of revealed to you as you move, right? Rick Rubin has his book. I love his book, but that's what he talks about. It's like a 1, 2, 3. You probably know the next 3 steps, so do those next 3 steps. And then once you get to the second or third step, the 4th, 5th, 6th steps will probably start being shown to you as you move.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't expect to know every little step along the way in trying to get what you're trying to get.
Yeah. And I'd also like to add to that, I've been on this journey for a while, and I've had a major milestone happen in my career, and as great as it was, the journey was way better.
Yeah.
It was just another thing that happened, and then I was like, oh, on to the next.
Yeah.
But from that I was like, wow, it really is about the journey.
Yeah.
The end goal it's great and all, but a lot of people say it like the journey is way more fulfilling.
If you have the right mindset about it, I totally agree with you. Because you could be like, oh man, I did all this cool stuff, but I still don't have my 1,000 units, and I'm pissed off and I'm upset about that.
Yeah.
Or you can be really proud of yourself for taking the steps that you need to take to hopefully get to the 1,000 or whatever the goal is, right?
Yeah.
But it's taking those steps confidently, like we talked about as well.
Yeah.
Knowing that you obtain those skills to get you to those next set of skills that you need.
Yeah.
It's so good. Frank, I appreciate you taking the time, early morning, coming out here to chat with me. It's such a good conversation, man, and very grateful for you and your time. As, I guess we'll kind of wrap up. Anybody that's on their entrepreneurship journey, kind of doing their own thing young, what advice and motivation would you give them?
I always tell people that you can do it. I've learned on my journey that I can do anything I put my mind to.
Yeah.
And I've sold myself on that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that everyone knows that we're confined to this, wherever you are, your environment, you're confined to what you're able to get to. I had the fortunate ability to get out of that environment, and I realized that, shit, I can do anything I put my mind to. So that's what I would say. You can do anything you want.
So good. It's so good. Frank, thanks so much for jumping on, man. Again, dude, super appreciate you. Awesome. For those of you listening, give Frank a follow. We'll throw his Instagram handles and stuff in the bio for everybody to follow Frank if you want to. Also, just to preview a couple of things for Black Sail Capital, we're going to San Diego. We're meeting up with Will, so we should have some fun content. We're going to get some fun episodes while we're out there with some high-level people, so some more of our friends like Frank. So tune in, stick around. We definitely got some fun stuff planned coming up with Black Sail Capital. Frank, thanks again so much for being on with us today, dude. Appreciate you, bro. That was awesome, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome. Thank you, man.